Welcome to Ed Fluential Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And if you've seen the Ravens game, when I talked about the last two teams to qualify for the playoffs, this would be similar to it. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 video. I'm gonna talk about the Miami Ole Miss game first in the college football playoff semifinals. This was a great game from start to finish. It started, Miami had a long 13-play drive that went 7 minutes, but they were only able to get a field goal off of that. But it didn't matter too much, because to end the first quarter they were up 3-0 going into the second, and then both teams, they scored a few touchdowns, field goals in that second quarter, and Miami was up 17-13 going into halftime. So pretty entertaining. First half, the biggest play was the Marion 52-yard receiving touchdown. Well, that was the second biggest play, because Keywan Lacey also had a 73-yard run. So I don't know how I forgot about that, because that was like the beginning of the second quarter. So those were two of the bigger plays in that first half, as Miami went into it up 17-13. Then the third quarter was a flip of the first quarter, where Miami scored 3 and Ole Miss scored 0. In the third quarter, Miami didn't score, and so Ole Miss scored 3, and to make it a 16-17 game. And they missed one field goal. There was a few misses here, because one of the field goals that Ole Miss had missed was a doink off the upright. Then the one they made was also a doink, but this time it went in. So that was pretty entertaining. And then you had the fourth quarter, which was explosive from both teams. Beck did have a late overthrow, but that didn't end up mattering too much. But once Wright had the touchdown and got the 2-point conversion, Ole Miss took a 27-24 lead. That's when Beck had to overthrow by Miami. They was able to run the clock down, and Carson Beck ran in for a touchdown. Miami ended up winning 31-27, as Ole Miss wasn't able to do anything on their final possession. So Miami advances to the college football national championship. And like I said, Carson Beck had the game-winning rushing touchdown, went 23 of 37 with one pick, 2 touchdowns, 286 yards, but he did have the game-winning rushing touchdown. Keelan Marion, 7 receptions, 114 yards. Malachi Tony, 5 catches, 81 yards. So Miami, they advanced. Ole Miss played a great game. Just Keywan Lacey, 11 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. I think Keywan Lacey did go out with an injury, if I'm not mistaken. After that long 73-yard run, Chamberlain, 23 of 37, 277 yards. That's 1 touchdown. And then as far as the season, and then Sterling, he led the receivers with 5 catches, 77 yards. So Ole Miss put together a good game. It was just, they just weren't able to win in the end. I mean, this was a really good game, aside from that field goal miss and them, because they didn't score in the first quarter, but Miami didn't score in the third quarter, so that kind of offset both teams. It was really that missed field goal that could have changed things a bit for Ole Miss, but Miami, they got the win, and they advanced. It was a really good game, one of the most entertaining playoff games this year. So congratulations to Miami on advancing to the college football national championship as the 10th ranked team going into the playoffs and the playoff bracket. And you had the second semifinal game, which was between Oregon, who was ranked 5th, and Indiana, who was ranked 1st. And this wasn't an entertaining game. Indiana was able to score in every quarter. I mean, Indiana dominated this game. I'm going to get right into it. They won 56-22 the game. Once Dante Moore threw a pick 6 to start the game, that's when you pretty much knew it was over. And Dante Moore, I don't think his stock is going to go down like crazy. He's still going to be the second quarterback pick, regardless of this game. But he had that pick 6 to begin the game. He had a very crucial fumble in the game where he threw a backwards pass, and that was inside their own 5. And so going into halftime, it was 35-7. Indiana was leading. Oregon missed the field goal going into halftime. So just complete domination throughout the game, especially in the first half. But even the second half, they didn't let their foot off the gas pedal, outscoring them 21-15. And then to win 56-22, Oregon wasn't able to score in that second quarter. It it was hard to highlight some of the bigger plays when I was taking my notes because they just kept scoring. They kept scoring at such a high rate. It was like every time they had the ball, it felt like they was able to score. And Dante Moore, he finished the game 24, 39, 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and a fumble, which was lost, and they was able to score off of that. Jamari Johnson, the tight end, 4 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Jeremiah McLean had 5 catches for 64 yards. So they got good production out of their tight end and one of the receivers, but it simply wasn't enough. They only kicked 1 field goal throughout the night, which was missed. They had 2 extra points. Then they had the later touchdowns they had was one was a 2-point conversion in that third quarter that they was able to successfully get. But once the writing was on the wall, which was in the first half, even them getting that 2-point conversion in the third quarter, it didn't matter. But Fernando Mendoza, wow. At 17 of 20, 177 yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 carries, 428 yards. He had more touchdowns than he had incompletions once again. He's done this back-to-back weeks. Had more touchdowns in the game than he had incompletions. Then Elijah Surratt, 7 catches, 75 yards. The run game was effective. Keelan Black, 12 carries, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. Roman Hemby, 17 carries, 53 yards. Kobe Martin, 4 carries, 42 yards. And Charlie Becker, 2 catches, 48 yards. So, they only punted 3 times in the game. So, didn't have to punt much. But yeah, a great game from Indiana. And Aiden Fisher, 1.5 tackles for loss. Isaiah Jones, 1.5 tackles for loss. So I got to point out the defense too, because Indiana, they played phenomenal. They looked amazing once again. So yeah, Fernando Mendoza leading this team. Not the most eye-popping numbers, but if you watch this game and if you watch the playoffs, Mendoza's been great. He's going to go first. Now, he's going to be behind a terrible O-line with the Raiders. So if his first season isn't a success, it won't be because of him. It'll be because of that O-line if the Raiders don't improve that. But Mendoza looked great, and he's proved back-to-back weeks why he was the Heisman winner. And Indiana will be facing Miami in the college football national championship in 2026. And I'll be dropping a short or video soon doing my preview for the national championship. And once the national championship concludes, I'll probably have a short out because I think I have a different video planned for that day, or I might talk about it on my podcast, so we'll see. But with all that being said, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment what y'all thought of these games, and comment who y'all got winning the national championship. I got Indiana winning. I think they win by 10, but like I said, I might do a more in-depth preview coming soon.